we're joined this morning by author, free motivational speaker, and adventurer Cindy Ross.
That's right. She's here to talk to us about how to better live off the land, and you do it so well. I've been to your place near Hawk Mountain, and you really do. You got the log cabin you guys built yourselves. You grow your own foods. You can it. So you are a master at living off the land.
I don't know about a master, Bo, but 40 years of practice.
There you go, master of your own domain.
And right now, we were just also showing, just so the audience isn't confused, you do a lot of work with veterans dealing with PTSD, and we'll talk about that in a little bit, your book, Walking Towards Peace. But first, let's talk about the canning process and kind of growing your own food.
Sure. So, right here we have a variety of different things. We have a big orchard. We have about 24 different kinds of trees in our orchard, which, you know, sometimes they produce, depends on the weather. This year it was great no matter where you were, whether it was blueberries, apples, peaches. A lot of it has to do with bees, if you have healthy bees in the area, because they have to pollinate. But my kids bought my husband 2 piglets, and actually this is turkey meat, so we just got into producing our own meat just because during COVID we just spent a lot of time on our property and saw our neighbors, and so we weren't too impacted by not seeing people because we have a big property with neighbors around. But we raise our own meat. These are mushrooms. We inoculate logs with shiitakes, so when the weather's right we go out and there's like 25 huge mushrooms, so we canned them this year.
And it seems like during the pandemic, especially in 2020, this really was a trend a lot of people started towards.
Yeah, you still can't find lids. It's crazy. Lids, I think they were a dozen in a pack for like $2, and now they cost about $1 a piece for these little lids on the top here.
But so for people who don't know, and I'm one, but just canning food, you know, how it lasts as long as you want. Does it taste different? Like, what's the process of actually doing it?
Well, actually, like, the one thing that people have to understand is that foods that have acid in them, like fruit and tomatoes, you can put them either in a boiling water bath or a steamer canner, which you only need about this much water. Mm-hmm. Now, any other kind of vegetable or meat, you have to have in a pressure canner because it has to get the temperature so hot to kill all the bacteria. So that pot's like this big, and there's all these kind of cranks that you have to, because the thing could blow up if the pressure's not.
That is,
yeah. But the fruit and tomatoes are really easy to do.
And living off the land, you said, it's been something in your blood for about 40 years
Ever since
now.
we met, yeah.
And you made this beautiful cabin. This book's called The Log Cabin Years, how one couple built a home from scratch and created a life. What do you love about this life?
Our independence and our freedom, and really, Karen, it came from the fact that Todd and I, my husband, were long-distance Appalachian Trail through hikers when we were really young. He was 19, I was 24, and that's when we decided that we wanted to live this independent life. We didn't care how hard we worked, but we wanted to be in charge of our day and our time, and so that's when we started to grow our own food, go to log building school, and decide to learn all the skills that we could so that we could do what we want to do in life.
It's freedom, yeah.
And one of the skills that you do, and it just kind of came about almost randomly, is your work with veterans dealing with severe PTSD. And your book, Walking Towards Peace, you and I did a story together back in May about just having nature nurture the healing process for these veterans. What has that meant for you?
Well, you know, we looked at our house after our kids grew up and left, and it feels like a sanctuary to us. We have 12 acres, and so when we live right by the Appalachian Trail, we used to run a hostel right on the other side of Hawk Mountain, and used to bring hikers home. And when I found out that the trail can heal pain from trauma, we decided we could do something to help. So we take these veterans on hikes and have big campfire dinners right on our property. So although we always stay outside, our whole space feels like a sanctuary to the veterans, so we kind of give back that way.
And the images you just saw on television were sketches of personal stories that veterans had contributed to the book about how nature had really helped them deal with severe PTSD. And this book it's very graphic, like there are no punches pulled.
Yeah, they were very brave to tell me their story. I'm just a conduit to tell their story, but stories can change lives. So that's the reason I wrote it, is to try to save some people from other alternatives than life.
Important work.
And you've written 6 books? Or
9.
9. I apologize. 9 books.
Get some time in the
right.
cabin there. That's awesome.
Yeah, and if you want to
2
find...
of them in 1 year. It was, there's a lot of downtime last year during COVID.
Yeah, it sure was.
Well, you're very busy. From the hiking to the writing to the canning to coming here. Cindy, thank you very much.
Sure, thank you.
For joining us. And you can go to CindyRoss.
CindyRossTraveler.com.
That's right, CindyRossTraveler.com. Oh, and there's your log cabin right there. It's spectacular, folks. Maybe you can build one too.
My husband's a chainsaw carving artist that kind of evolved from building the house, so he's happy at home doing his work.
Well, thank you, Cindy.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. We'll be right back. Stay with us.